Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Coming up tonight, a domino game ends in a man's death on Easter Sunday. Meanwhile, an environmentalist slams the resumption of cruise ships to the Bahamas. And a woman rejoices her cancer-free Easter. Welcome to Our News, and thanks for joining us. I'm Jared Higgs, topping news tonight. A game of dominoes turned deadly when a man was shot in the stomach by a person who was known to him. According to police, it was around noon on Easter Sunday when the domino game was being played on Nassau Street. That's when the attacker walked up and fired a weapon at the victim.
Nice cousin to me. Anything I needed, and he have it, he'll give it to me. Anything he wanted and I have it, I'll give it to him.
Family members tell Our News the victim is 51-year-old Anthony Tyrone Roll. After he was shot, he was taken to hospital, but died after being in surgery for about 5 hours. His cousin, 45-year-old Yvonne Johnson, says the two used to work with each other years ago and often played dominoes together under the tree where Roll was killed.
He used to be out here cleaning cars when I was 16. He showed me how to clean a car. He taught me how to clean a car, right? Anthony was all right.
The grieving cousin says the domino table under the tree was a regular hangout spot for Roll, who he says was the type of person to keep to himself.
He sit down, play dominoes, you know, and just talking of fun. But no one. See ladies say, yeah. Talk to ladies, that's it.
The Drug Enforcement Unit will place two men before the courts at 11 a.m. tomorrow in connection with the discovery of $3.1 million worth of cocaine found on Eleuthera last Monday. The drugs were found after a joint operation between Bahamian and American law enforcement agencies. During the operation in Governor's Harbor, a search was conducted among the trees near to the area's airstrip. During the search, officers discovered 6 assorted duffel bags and bushes. An inspection of the bags revealed packages containing a white powdery substance suspected to be 403 pounds of cocaine. Police also discovered a blue and white Piper Aztec twin-engine aircraft, which they believed to be connected to the discovery of the drugs. At the time of the incident, police say they were in search of two men, ages 28 and 37. The decision to welcome cruise ships to the Bahamas isn't sitting well with Re-Earth Executive Director Sam Duncombe, who says it's a poor idea.
The cruise industry was one of the biggest pushers of COVID-19 around the world, and here we are opening our arms to them. When the CDC is saying they're shutting down the cruise industry because they know they spread the virus all over the place, we're opening our arms and saying, come to us, come to us. Our COVID cases are on the rise. Allowing cruises to come into the country at this time is absolute insanity.
Her comments came days after Royal Caribbean International said bookings for its cruise departing Nassau's cruise port in June are off to a strong start, noting that there has been an encouraging uptick in the first few sailings in June. Crystal Cruises was the first cruise company to announce it sailed this summer to the Bahamas beginning July 3rd. The cruise company unveiled its 7-night Bahamas Escapes itinerary, which cruises from its home port of the Bahamas, making 16 departures from either Nassau or Bimini to Harbor Island, Great Exuma, Long Island, and San Salvador. However, Duncombe feels the Bahamas missed out on the opportunity.
From tourism's own numbers, 75% of our tourism are cruise tourists, but they only account for 10% of the tourism income. Here was a brilliant opportunity for us to get it right, and we continue to go down the wrong route.
As the Boundaries Commission is seriously considering the recommendation of 5 new seats in the next general election, Progressive Liberal Party leader Philip Davis says constituencies should have an equal number of voters where possible. Berthine McDermott reports.
PLP leader Philip Davis says there has to be some altering of some constituencies ahead of the next general election to achieve voter parity, as the Constitution requires. His comments come days after Boundaries Commission Chairman Halston Moultrie said the Commission is considering recommending up to 5 additional seats to be contested in the next election.
I don't know on whose authority the Speaker is making those observations, but we do know that there ought to be some restriction to conform in what our constitutional mandate is.
The constituencies that could end up looking a little different are Killarney and Golden Isles, which are the largest constituencies on New Providence, and Baines and Grantstown. On Grand Bahama, Moultrie said East Grand Bahama could see a change. However, he admitted that the decision ultimately lies in the hands of the Prime Minister, Dr. Hubert Minnis, who previously indicated that boundaries won't change.
He has the ultimate say on how the redistribution will be. So if he says that he is not going to, we'll have to wait to see what the recommendations are first from the Commission, then see how he either alters and or reject or accept what they will.
Moultrie said the goal is to have 5,000 voters in each constituency where possible. However, no matter what the boundaries may look like in the next election, Davis expressed confidence that it won't affect the PLP's chance of winning.
No, not at all, because as I've always said, lines don't change minds. And I think the mindset of the Bahamian people is that they are with us, and wherever you put them, they'll stay with us.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Coming up in Our News returns, the PLP deputy leader unimpressed with the progress made on storm-ravaged Ragged Island, and hundreds of shelter animals find new homes abroad. Stay with us.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Progressive Liberal Party Deputy Leader Chester Cooper says Ragged Islanders weren't impressed with the Prime Minister's recent trip to the island to inspect a school which he said is only half completed. Last week, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, along with a delegation, visited Ragged Island to inspect a number of ongoing projects like the all-age school, solar plant, police station, and healthcare facility.
I also find it quite insulting to the people of Ragged Island. They were quite offended to see the large entourage, the number of SUVs moving through the streets, the number of persons, and they imagine the level of expense when some persons have still not gotten any support from NEMA to fix their roofs.
Cooper says that Minnis is playing politics and added that movement on the island is 4 years too late. In 2017, Hurricane Irma, a Category 5 storm packed with 155-mile-per-hour winds, took direct aim at Ragged Island, Acklins, and Inagua. Due to the extensive damage on the island, it was declared uninhabitable. Back in 2019, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Public Works Desmond Bannister revealed government's plan to construct a $4 million school on the island. Back in February, Bannister promised residents a new Ragged Island. 4 years later, Cooper says there are still a number of essential services the island needs.
We still don't have a nurse, a doctor, a police station on the island, and this is tragic given the level of activity and number of local residents still living on Ragged Island.
Due to an overload of pets during the pandemic, the Bahamas Humane Society was forced to airlift hundreds of animals to other countries to ease the burden. Berthany McDermott explains.
Within 6 months, the Bahamas Humane Society conducted 3 airlifts transporting around 500 cats and dogs to Canada and the United States. According to Assistant Shelter Manager Peter Feldman, the shelter was inundated with pets.
We were hoping it would be empty and we would have a little bit of a chance to do some repairs and everything else, but absolutely not. 2 days after our lift, we started getting inundated with puppies and people who, especially through COVID, cannot afford to keep their dogs. And as much as we do have a food bank and we do try and support a lot of people out there, A lot of people just can't keep their dogs and their cats, so we just got a huge influx.
The airlifts, according to Feldman, helped to ease the burden on the shelter. He said the most recent airlift to Nova Scotia, which transported more than 200 cats and some 72 dogs, came at a cost of $50,000.
And it's not just the flight, you have to understand, is we have to buy the carriers to ship the dogs in. It is getting the dogs ready to make sure they're on heart guard, so they all need medication. Some dogs need to be spayed and neutered because in Canada and the States, they will not take a dog if it's not spay or neutered.
Feldman stressed that it's an ongoing battle for the society. He said the facility has seen a significant increase in occupancy since the pandemic, noting that many found themselves unable to take care of their pets during the pandemic.
And it's difficult. There was a lot of people who had 4 or 5 animals and were working and, could manage them. But again, with that, not only the dog food, but the heart guard and all the things you need to keep your animals safe and protected, they cost money, a lot of money. And so all of a sudden, people could not afford them anymore.
Feldman said there are more than 109 puppies at the shelter. He advised pet owners to get their pets spayed and neutered, a service the Humane Society offers. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
When Our News comes back from the break, a woman rejoices being cancer-free on Easter Monday. Stay with us.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
A mother of 2 who has battled cancer for the past 4 years is celebrating being cancer-free. She says she's grateful to spend another Easter with her children.
Jared, I feel amazing. I look amazing, and I am happy.
Anastasia Strawn exudes positivity and strength. If she looks familiar, that's because back in November, we told you about Strawn, a 41-year-old mother of 2 battling stage 4 breast cancer. At the time of our interview, Strawn was just about to head to the U.S. for treatment. 5 months later, she celebrates being cancer-free.
God has given me another day to be Anastasia, to tell my story, to be connected to people. A lot of people say, I have so much energy, I have so much joy. It's only by the goodness of God, because I am happy.
Strawn's battle started more than 4 years ago. She had a double mastectomy and received breast implants. When the cancer returned aggressively at the end of 2020, Strawn and her doctors had to act fast and were able to avoid having to remove the implants. The result, according to Strawn, has been a positive recovery.
I am joyful. I am back to work. I am excited to be amongst my family again, to be amongst my friends. And I get up every day and I tell myself, this is showtime, meaning the joy within myself, it brings it out. Jared, I feel amazing.
We interviewed Strawn over Zoom. She is receiving continuing treatment and has to travel between the U.S. and the Bahamas every 2 weeks to see her doctors. She credits her children for helping to keep her strong.
They've been amazing support. My daughter has been cooking for me. My son has been the one that would get up, get my water, set my clothes out to bed, stuff like that. So they've been good. They've been handling this better than myself.
Strawn is cancer-free once again and celebrated Easter Monday with her family at home. The threat of the COVID-19 virus is still very real, so Strawn says she has to be careful. Still, she's full of motivation.
Story of hope. It's a story of to be encouraged. It's a story of to go after what is destined for you. There are going to be bumps along the way, but know that our God fight our battles for us. He didn't come on this earth just to play around. He came on this earth for a reason. I think I am part of his reason because he loves me. He put me through cancer, but he also saved me. He also gave me the grace to know that, Anastasia, you can move on. You can fight.
The PLP hosts a curbside breakfast drive. That's coming up when our news returns.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
The Progressive Liberal Party hosted a free curbside breakfast drive this morning, which party leader Philip Davis said was a show of appreciation to the community. Residents were able to drive up and get their choice of souse, grits and tuna, or grits and sausage.
Just a part of getting people together and helping those who are in need. We always appreciate that there are a lot of people are still hurting, and so this is just a little token of appreciation to demonstrate that we don't just care. We demonstrate that care by providing as we are doing here this morning.
Some PLP candidates were on hand for the drive, even hand-delivering breakfast to residents. The event ran from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the party's headquarters on Farrington Road. Officials say they were prepared to feed 2,000 people. Davis said he was pleased with this morning's turnout.
Well, it has been a steady flow, as you can see. It's still very early. We've had already a couple hundred people have passed through, and I'm sure more will come through during the course of this morning.
Thank you for joining us for Our News Tonight. To catch Our News on the go, download the Rev Go Play app. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Jared Higgs. Have a beautiful evening, Bombers.